Now, from one legend to another, here's Karl in Plaistow. Karl, welcome.
Good evening, George.
Evening, sir.
Life is just one damned crazy amount of stuff to another. Now, maybe I'm just bloody minded, but I always make a point of walking under ladders, you know. Tempting state, I know, but that's just me. Now, on the business of the Lib Dems, before I get to the injunction, before the Lib Dems, one explanation I've never heard from any of the Lib Dems is what they actually think entitles them to be a part of a government, whatever the government is
That's doing the opposite of what they promised their voters they would do.
Not only that, but they got a reduced vote. They lost votes at the last general election, so they weren't getting a mandate from anybody to do anything. You know,
Fair
they were
point.
told quite clearly, you're not wanted. You know, but they would refuse to take that for an answer, and that's totally undemocratic from people who are always bleating on about democracy, you know. And you made a point there, George, earlier on. You say, if we want to live in a free society. No, I don't want to live in a free society. And we don't live in a free society. You know, that's the great myth, the freedom, what I call the freedom delusion, that we are free. We have whole libraries full of books telling us things we cannot do or say, you know, and freedom is indivisible, you know. You can't have part freedom or not freedom. So we do, strictly speaking, generally speaking, we are not free. We are human beings, and we have rules and regulations, and that's what makes us human beings. Wild animals are free. You know,
I agree with that.
and even some of them have certain rules and regulations. But we are brainwashed by this constant. It's a free. America calls itself the land of the free, and it's got a quarter of all the prisoners in the world locked up. Yeah, and 40% of them are blacks. It's a vast gulag archipelago, you know, which would have chained Stalin. You know. And nothing is free in the land of the free. And if they try to make it free like health, they shout communism. The Wizard of Oz was banned in certain states in America because everything in the Wizard of Oz, Land of Oz, was free. There was no such thing as money, and that's seditious thinking in American terms. That things could actually be free. So I think we should stop this business about it's a free country, a free world. Well, it's not a free country. We have rules and regulations and customs and mores covering every single aspect, including what I'm doing now. There's certain things I can't say and I won't say because I'd get put off the air, and quite rightly so. So let's get rid of this myth, the delusion of freedom. It's not freedom that defines human beings. It's restraint. It's laws, it's rules, it's behaviour, proper behaviour, you know. And also, of course, there's economic freedom. You're not free if you're unemployed. You're not free if you're poor. You're free if you're rich. You can go anywhere and do anything. That's the real freedom, and it's this great myth which is foisted upon us all the time, that how free we are. We're not free. We have to work for a start. You have to work. I've had many, many bosses in my life. Never had one that was elected. Never had one. We live in a dictatorship. Only you don't have one dictatorship. You have about 3 million, you know, and they're called employers of labour. They can do with you as they wish, more or less, and they're not elected by anybody. You know, the whole myth that it's actually Parliament that runs the country. It's not Parliament that runs the country. It's the boardrooms that run the country. That's where all the wealth is.
Parliament could if it wanted to.
It could do, of course, yes, but they'd have to restrict we have to reimpose all the rules and regulations that Thatcher did away with. Because it's rules and regulations that make us civilised and decent. And that applies to the injunctions and the freedom of the press, so-called freedom of the press. They're free to lie. That's about all the freedom they want, you know. To hell with them.
Well, a very powerful series of rejoinders from Karl in Plaistow and Damien in Brighton, for that matter. Tell me what you thought of what they had to say about the subjects we're discussing tonight.